Hello, everybody. Welcome to the US CPI live stream. We're going to be taking a look at the reaction. We're going to be taking a look at what could potentially happen in about 10 minutes or so, or 9 minutes or so. We've got probably, I would say, one of the bigger reports for definitely this month coming up very, very shortly. CPI year on year is forecast to come in a little bit lower, but what are we going to see happen? I'm on a price chart of gold at the moment. I've been looking at some potential shorts pre-US CPI and basically went short in below these swing lows after price came and retested Friday's value area high. But let me know if you can hear me. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from. Let me know your expectations. What do you think is going to happen to the US dollar today? I'd love to hear your feedback as well. And yeah, let's see what happens today. There is a lot of indications or a lot of sentiment that could suggest that we are going to see a little bit more of a downside miss. But we've had some recent strong sort of or essentially, where's the upside miss going to be? And I think if we hit that sort of inflation rate around about nearing that 4% mark, I think we're going to see a very, very big move on the US dollar to the upside. Downside pressure miss would be more towards that sort of 3% level. And I think we're probably going to see a lot of dollar weakness off the back of that. But to try and call this from the get-go is going to be very, very difficult. I think we need to be more reactionary rather than trying to anticipate the move because this could be, like I said, it's going to be one of the bigger reports. I'm on gold right now, but let me know what chart you want me to see. Rye Guy, let's go, Rye Guy. Welcome to the live stream. But yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. There are 92 viewers at the moment, so I appreciate everybody jumping in. We've got a lot of viewers on Twitter or X, so welcome, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's have a little look to see how we can anticipate this little bit of a move to the downside. Like I said, I've been looking at sort of gold, but we can go have a look at other markets as well. Let's have a little look at euro here. Let me just change the settings on the volume profile. Let's go with more. Add a few more nodes in there. But yeah, very interesting. What we've got at the moment, you can see on this 15-minute chart here, but just expand out to the 4-hour chart. We've been very, very bearish dollar for the past few weeks now. Market has been making those nice high highs, high lows, especially euro dollar. We've got a really nice sort of resistance coming up near towards that 1.09. At least these kind of key swing highs where we saw lots of downside back on the 10th of April. We saw very aggressive dollar buying, euro downside. We saw prices kind of move aggressively lower, and we're kind of heading towards that swing high. So I won't be surprised if the data comes out and we see price try and go and seek these highs, maybe seek that liquidity point before seeing a bit of a drop to the downside, maybe something like this, depending on the outcome, obviously. Again, I'd rather be more reactionary than anything else. Looking at euro dollar at the moment, looking at the volume profile, we've got a point of control up towards that area as well. So obviously accumulation or volume are built in areas of consolidation, and the market may go and seek some type of consolidation or volume into the event. So let's see what happens here. We've got about 5 minutes. Now, obviously, the CPI data really important. It's what all sort of central banks have been talking about recently, is that inflationary pressure. We actually had Powell talking yesterday at an event, and he still feels that the monetary policy will remain restrictive into as long as, obviously, inflation remains higher. So, the market's trying to anticipate when are the Fed going to cut interest rates. Hi, Bruce from South Africa. Good afternoon, Vincent, as well. Welcome. Hope you're both doing good. But yeah, the market participants are trying to anticipate when the Fed are going to cut rates. So I think it's around about a 60% chance that we're going to see a cut in September now. If we go take a quick look at the CME Fed Watch Tool, I'm just looking at bond yields as well. Obviously, bond yields have been declining recently as well, so that's helping that dollar drive to the downside. If we go to the CME Fed Watch Tool and have a little look at sort of the upcoming probabilities of a cut in a meeting, so there's no change for the next meeting. But if we go over to September, we've got a potential easing, 69.2% that you can see in the corner there. And then into November, we've got another potential cut. So they're pricing more cuts towards September and November meetings. But will that change today, essentially? Will that change? If inflation comes in higher, I think those possibilities of a cut get pushed back again. And obviously in November, we've got the presidential election. So we might not even see a cut before the election, depending on the outcome. What was interesting last Friday, obviously we had the NFP numbers. NFP came in a little bit lower as well. So is that showing us a bit of restriction in the US consumer market? We saw Starbucks as well. Their profits came down slightly. They showed a 7% decline in footfall. So what does that tell you? People aren't spending as much as they would. So does that mean that there's a little bit of a tightening happening in the market? So we've got about 3 minutes to go. Let me know what your thoughts are. About a couple of minutes. This is Euro dollar. One market I really did like was US dollar Swiss. And with the PPI data that came out recently, we had a big move above these key swing highs around about that 0.91 handle. Price then broke lower, and we're kind of hovering around a key area now. And there's a lot of volume down here on dollar Swiss towards the 0.89 handle. So I'm interested to see where the market participants take price. Volumes have been pretty low recently. We can see that because the market has just been consolidating. Very difficult trading conditions if you are sort of a trend-based trader. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Guys, let me know what you think. Rygo, what do you think is going to happen? Vincent, what do you think is going to happen? Bruce, if you're watching, let me know what you think is going to happen as well. What charts are you watching? An interesting chart could be dollar yen. If we do see that upside to dollar yen, then are we going to see a potential move back into those key areas up towards the 160 handle? And what does that mean? Does that mean intervention from the Bank of Japan? So yeah, very, very interesting report coming up. So I'm just going to react to it, see what happens, see what we can potentially do. I've got a gold chart up as well. So let's see. 30 seconds, guys. Dollar CAD sitting above 136 at the moment. Again, lots of volume down here as well. I would be, if we got a miss to the downside, I wouldn't mind, or I could imagine price coming down towards these kind of 135 handles. We've got lots and lots of volume down there. If I open up the volume profile, you can see 135.65 down in here, 135.40. So it's in a big jump in gold, big jump in gold. I'm seeing lots of dollar downside at the moment, but okay. So CPI month on month, 0.3%, CPI year on year, 3.4%. Retail sales came in at 0%. So we've actually seen some declines in retail sales as well. So let's have a little look at this. I'll leave the price chart here of dollar CAD. I actually don't think that's as bad as what was expected. I think 3.4% is actually not that bad. In terms of, is that going to give the market a real sense that cuts are coming? You know, probably not. The dollar is selling off as a reaction to this right now. CPI month on month fell to 0.3%. It'll be interesting to see what has been behind that decrease. You know, previously rents were a big part of why inflation was a little bit higher. So I'll be interested to see what the report is there in terms of have rents not attributed so much to CPI for the month. And then we've had retail sales. So retail sales, big jump down in retail sales. We've had a 0% there. We've had no revisions on the board here yet. So there was no revisions to CPI. That was something that would have needed to be looked at as well. But a decline in retail sales again. Let's have a little look at the line chart here. So we've gone from that sort of 0.7%, 0.8% down to the 0% here on retail sales. So again, what does that tell us in the market? Are people not spending as much at the moment? So that's very, very interesting. It's telling us a lot about the US economy at the moment. So not really seeing much in terms of sales. We've got CPI 0.3% on the month on month, but relative the same CPI year on year. So still maintaining a little bit of a hold there. Yet core CPI also 0.3%. Core retail sales came in as expected. And the dollar is selling off a little bit, but not as aggressively as I would have anticipated. You know, like we said, dollar CAD here, there's a lot of volume down towards 135, 136 being tested again now on dollar CAD. And we discussed this in yesterday's live stream. Very hard to call a potential point, but, you know, 136, if you are a dollar CAD buyer at the moment, 136 is obviously a big, big level to look for. So, you know, maybe if we hold above 136, there could be a little bit of a surprise jump to the upside there. Let's go take a look at some other charts then. So, hi, Harmy. Hope you're doing well. Bruce was watching gold and oil. Let's go take a look at the gold charts. I imagine the stock markets have really loved this. We've got Harold saying S&P 500 at all-time highs. This is the gold chart at the moment on the 4-hour time frame. You can see we were sort of holding that VWAP area on gold, and then we've obviously found a lot of buying pressure from that. We're now coming up and potentially taking out Friday's high now, where we saw a little bit of selling pressure earlier today. So nice little potential breakout here for gold. You know, we've got all this volume up here towards the sort of 2380s and above, towards the $2,400 area. So gold could be one to watch in terms of if we get a break above 237.8, then we could see a little bit more of an upside there. Let's go take a look at those stock markets then. So the S&P 500. S&P 500. Yeah, what a breakout that is. Big, big move. Heading up towards those all-time highs again now. You know, so the market obviously favouring this type of data. I think the thing is as well, we didn't have that miss to the upside at all, did we? So does that reaffirm essentially the potential for a rate cut now? So let's see. I'm going to have a little flick over to the CME Fed Watch tool. I know that probably won't update as quickly. But so let's have a little look at July's. So July now, there is a 66.9% chance of no change in the market, with a 33.1% chance of an ease in July. And now September still remains 69.2% expecting an ease in September. And November has gone up to 80.2%. I'm pretty sure that was in the 70s when we just looked before the event. So yeah, stock markets are really going to love this. Retail sales data, not so much. But the market, like I said, is really, really focusing on CPI at the moment, really, really focusing on inflationary data. And yeah, that CPI number was very much welcomed by stock markets. I did think the risk was to the downside here. If we did see that miss higher, I think a lot of people were long stocks ahead of this, and you can see that by the sort of aggressive buying that we've seen recently in the market. I have tried to play the downside a couple of times successfully. So yesterday on the PPI data, managed to short, which came in pretty good, but again, just came into that consolidation zone. Price then moves higher, which is what you can see here in terms of volume profile here on the top right hand chart. So stocks now moving to the upside. Does that give us any kind of opportunities? Well, now we're back at all-time highs. We've got to watch to see how price reacts in this area here. Do you see a bit of a relief to the rally and price kind of come back down towards the sort of 5250s? What would be interesting if we see a breach of all-time highs now across stock markets. Let's go have a little look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq also approaching all-time highs here as well. Let me just go to a daily chart just so you can see it a little bit better on the left-hand side. Yeah, look at that, potentially breaking higher. I really love Dow Jones longs, and I just haven't managed to catch any of this move. I was long down here, came out at 38.60s, and haven't quite got back into the move yet. And this one's still kind of lagging behind a little bit. You've got that kind of daily swing high here around the 39.9 area. So we'll see what happens there. See if we can kind of breach back up into the all-time highs here on the Dow as well. But the reaction probably wasn't as big as what we all expected, was it? Let me know what you guys are still watching. I can see that gold has actually started to come back a little bit. Started to just kind of come off those highs. Just go down to a 15-minute chart here. Okay. Let's go into the settings. Come up into that third standard deviation on the VWAP, and we've given back a lot of that move already on gold. What was quite interesting, I did quite like the idea of if we look at the sort of volume profile in the top right hand side. Let me just full screen that so you can see that a little bit better. You can see that we've got this kind of volume all being built down towards the sort of $2,358 mark today. There's obviously volume being built around 2,363, which ended up being the level where those buyers did kind of hold and price came higher. But we came up and we tried to sort of breach Friday's value area high again and just failed a little bit. So if I turn this over to a candlestick chart, just so you can see that a little bit better. You can see we tried to kind of press into the value area high here and just, again, we've seen selling coming in. We've even tried to breach Friday's high, and we've seen a little bit of selling coming in here on gold. But, if we stay above VWAP here, I quite favor a little bit of upside here to gold. Let's see how Euro's been doing. Euro, a nice little pop higher, came right up into that volume area as well on euro dollar, and we started to see a decline again. So, we'll be interested to see how the dollar performs now. Let's go take a quick look at bond yields. Let me just have a little flick over there. Obviously, the US 10-year and the dollar index very closely correlated. What was interesting about bond yields at the time is obviously we were very, very bearish at one point. We've, had that sort of incline, which is in line with the US dollar index. If I just pop on a compare here, put the dollar index on, you can see how closely correlated they are. And usually you can get, sort of, sometimes there is an opportunity where you get a little bit more, one kind of leads the other. Most recently that was US dollar sort of index, but once we had the kind of move here in the bond yields, dollar reacted to that, followed through with that as well, and we came in kind of tested in and around that zone, didn't we, around about the 4.8. So I actually thought that maybe we would have seen bond yields back up towards the 5% level, but we've started to see that sort of breakdown now in bond yields. Let me just take off the Dixie here. Let's pop on a candlestick chart. But yeah, essentially, if we see that continuation in the downside in bond yields, I think the US dollar will follow with that. We've got a lot of sort of area down where price is coming in now, this kind of zone through here, around about 4.3s to 4.2s, which could be a little bit of support for bond yields as well. But I can't add any analysis onto this chart in particular, but we can see there's a bit of a potential sort of trend line there. Let me just grab a pen tool. Hi, Abdul. Hope you're doing well. Where is it now? Epic pen is what we were looking for. There we go. See if this loads in. So yeah, what I'm kind of looking at there is that sort of channel that we've had here on the bond yields, and we've had a breakdown here now. We're having a breakdown of that sort of channel. So are we going to start to see again sort of the 4.2 levels, maybe even these lows down into the 4s? And I think if we do start to see that sort of decline down into these areas, then obviously the US dollar can be dragged with that as well. So I still feel like there's a little bit of downside to the US dollar right now, especially now we've had that sort of breakout of this consolidation here. Depending on how this finishes as well, if we kind of close as a very strong sort of bullish candlestick, then the indecision will remain. But if that kind of changes and we do start to see that kind of push down here, then I do feel that the dollar could continue to move a little bit lower. So yeah, maybe gold prices are going to be dragged up with that as well. Maybe the S&P 500 as well. Go take a look at the stock markets again. Dow's still doing pretty well. S&P 500 continuing to sort of drive higher. Just kind of stalling a little bit now. So we'll see if we get a bit of a pullback. Now, usually I like to look at a bit of a mean reversion move. So, we've broken out of, so this kind of example here on the S&P 500, we can see that we were very balanced going into today, which is pretty normal considering the type of event that we were getting. But you can see we were very balanced, and then the market has obviously broken through that balance. Well, to me, this is an area where volume's being built, and we can see that via the volume profile up there. I'll have to adjust it again because you have to adjust it per sort of instrument that you're on. But if you look at the volume profile for today, you can see that we had that build up of volume there, which comes from accumulation. So if you don't have access to volume, just look for ranges within the market. Okay, that is where volume is. Okay, now I sometimes like to trade back to the volume point, so that's the mean reversion here. That's why I've got these VWAP bands on. So if we were to see some kind of declines here, then we maybe could look for a very, very short-term opportunity back down towards the sort of 5.256 area, maybe perhaps even into the sort of mid of the range where the point of control is sitting, 5.220, 5.250, 5.225s on the S&P, which is something just to be aware of. Same with gold, really. I like to look for that sort of mean reversion play, which is what I looked for earlier in terms of when I went short here, back down into volume. And if you have a little look at the volume profile here, so I like to use a volume profile that kind of goes from sort of the close to about midday. and you can see that there was a high volume zone at 23.58, which has been tested before price continued to push higher there. So that was my kind of thoughts earlier when I was looking to get involved with the market. It'd be nice to see how price does react here. We had we're having another sort of go at the value area high of Friday, and you can see, look at this volume bar being printed at the moment. So price obviously hasn't stayed here for too long, but we've just had the value area high shift higher of today up to 23.75. So that tells me that volume's being accumulated at higher levels. So if those buyers begin to fail, maybe the sellers will step over it and we'll see a little bit of a decline here. But that is a bit of a higher risk of move at the moment. Abdul, available in Afghanistan? I don't know the answer to that question. Sorry. Have a little look on Blueberry Market's website. I have no idea. Blueberry Markets. Let me see. I have a little look for you, see if I can find it. Please take a look at New Zealand US dollar. Absolutely, you don't have no deposit bonuses in the website. We usually run offers on deposit bonuses, so we might not be running one right now. But there is regular bonuses every now and again, so have a little look potentially, or just keep an eye on it. Is all I can say. I don't really know when the bonuses come up. I just do some analysis. So please take a look at Kiwi dollar. Yeah, let's have a little look. So yeah, Kiwi dollar, big breakout. Expected a decent move in Kiwi. We were coming into this nice little area of resistance. Now the price action really told us a lot. Typically if the market was going to react to an area, we get a big resistance. We get sellers coming into the market. And we didn't have that. The market was very much stalling around a level. So if you ever see a big resistance level and you see price rally into it, okay, and then hold like this, then that tells us a big picture in the market. It tells me that maybe the downside is not going to come into play, basically because there's a lack of selling going on here. And that's exactly what we kind of had. We had the market rally. We held here for a good period of time, kind of give us a little bit of an inkling of what could potentially happen. And then obviously price is now driven higher. We've broken through this trendline resistance. This trendline resistance was formed back from this high over here back in December. We're now potentially breaching that. Again, think about consolidation. Think about volume in the market. There'd be a lot of volume in and around this area. And if price is going to hold within this area now, we could see a move up towards 0.6200. So if I grab a fixed range volume profile and I take it from the swing high down to the current swing low, you can see that this is where the majority of the volume is being built. We came within the value area high, value area low, which is down here. And we have the value area high currently around 0.62. So if we hold in this area, hold above 0.6, hold above these kind of recent resistance levels, then there's a good possibility that we could push more towards the value area high, especially that 0.62 handle in here. Okay, so just think about that one a little bit. Let me know what your thoughts are as well on New Zealand US dollar. I quite like that potential move to the upside. We do have point of control, which is 0.61. So price does have to trade through that level. I can see that we're kind of coming up towards it at the minute. We kind of tested it, 0.61 there, and we've had a little bit of selling coming in around that point. So maybe there was some sellers around that level waiting to kind of come in on price here. But yeah, essentially, if you research sort of auction market theory, AMT, when price comes back within a value area, market can go and seek the other side of value. You have kind of different scenarios where the market will consolidate, push through. Auction market theory then suggests that you look for one or two things. You look for the sort of continuation from the value area high, or a break and a move down towards value area low, where price can either stay within value again, or it can break and move beyond value. So that's what I like to look at, and I like to see the fact that we've got big volume in here. Obviously, this is a daily chart, so lots of consolidation was found in here. So this is a large volume area, and I'll be surprised if we broke through 61. I would be surprised if we didn't go and try and make a move towards the highs there at 0.62. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Thank you, Abdul. Appreciate that. Let's have a little look. Aussie US dollar as well, trying to break out of this area. Let's have a quick flick over to dollar Swiss or dollar yens. A little bit of a move to the downside. Dollar Swiss did start to have a little bit of a push. We found support again. Wherever we found support, towards the lows here, 0.9 as well. Big psychological levels coming in here. But I do feel that if dollar Swiss did get beyond 0.9, then we've got this large volume area that could be on the cards for a test. So have a little look at that. I'm just looking at potential sort of mean reversion opportunities, and I don't really see any right now. Sometimes when the move has gone, there's an opportunity to potentially fade the move. A little bit of a riskier sort of play, but I'm looking at this kind of 3-minute time frame down here, where we've come into the VWAP deviations. We've come into an area of support, being those previous sort of swing levels. Looking at volume profile, we've kind of got sort of low volume down here with value area low that hasn't been tested yet, 0.9. So if I start to see a continuation, let's say down towards this value area low, and then price starts to turn a little bit, we start to see higher highs, higher lows on a lower time frame, then a mean reversion play could be on the cards there, where we look for a move back towards VWAP or back towards areas of previous volume, which would be sort of that consolidation there for the move away. So keep an eye on that one. Obviously, recently we have seen little bits of moves where we've had an initial push, and then the market has given back those moves, and that's what I like to look at for on gold, to be honest. But gold starting to just give a little bit more of a push higher. Let's see if there's any kind of levels above here. Yeah, so we've got sort of untested value area high 23.94 now for gold. So if we do breach Friday's highs and we hold above Friday's highs, then that could be the sort of next area of interest for price. Again, you've got that kind of consolidation up here, which is what I'm looking at essentially, is this consolidation up here, which formed on Friday the 19th of April. The market just kind of fell out of that area, didn't really hold the volume there. So yeah, looking to see, can price potentially come back towards that previous area, if and only if we kind of break higher. Like I said, at the moment we're kind of struggling. We did have a flip on the value area high, but that's kind of changed again. It's important to kind of look at previous value areas. But maybe if we hold below here, could be a little bit of a move. Let me just go to Renko here. Maybe if we get something like this happen, then that VWAP could be a good target. Can take a look at dollar CAD. Yeah, absolutely. Let's. Sorry, I haven't been changing my little banners there. So that was gold. Let's go to dollar CAD. Don't have a dollar CAD banner. Let's set one up. You have to remind me, guys. I'm trying to use these banners now so everybody knows what currency pair I'm on at the time. So here's dollar CAD. Flick that over to dollar CAD there, just to make sure that everybody knows that's the market we're looking at. Yeah, I mean, 136 seems to have held, Vincent. You know, like I said yesterday, if you really felt 136 was a good level to look for a bounce, you know, then that's what I would have looked at. I would have looked at 136, ATR the stop. I don't know what ATR is saying right now, but I imagine it would be about sort of 40 pips or so. So 135.60 potentially on your sort of short, but on your long, sorry, on your stop loss. And then you could be looking to try and target up towards 137. But yeah, that's what I would have looked at. I would have gone in with a very low risk, though. I would have gone very, very low risk on this because of the data. Obviously, it was a bit of an unknown, this data, and how the market would have taken it as well. But if you were looking at sort of opportunities around dollar CAD, you know, I do like longs above 136 if the price can kind of stay there. But, you know, we do have, like I said before, we do have a lot of volume below this level, which the market may want to go and sort of seek out, which is, like I said before, down towards that 135 50 handle. Right. So down towards here, that 135 60s, 135 50s. So that's where you kind of your risk is in terms of dollar CAD. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Could be a little bit of a trap for buyers here. You know, market pushing back to the upside, or even sellers. You know, if people have tried to sell through lows, you know, that could have been a problem for a lot of people there. You know, with the market coming back a little bit. So you might start to see sellers bail a little bit if they're, you know, as the market kind of comes back, they might see a little bit of opportunity to bail. So we could see a move back up into this area here, even 136.36. If we do start to see that bit of a break higher, got VWAP up there as well, and you've got these highs, you know, 3 consecutive highs there. Could be a lot of liquidity sitting above 136.38, which could be a little bit of a target for those that have been buying the market down here. What other charts are you guys looking at the moment? What do you think about the CPI report then? I think that was a little bit lackluster, wasn't it? Wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. I was hoping for a big sort of downside miss or a big upside surprise, which would have really kind of got the volatility going again. Let's just have a little look at what the VIX is saying. I think, you know, the volatility on the VIX will tell us a little bit as well. Where are we? Yeah, the VIX is down. VIX is down. So, you know, volatility hasn't really kicked in. Just nearly swallowed the lemon then. So let me know, Vincent, did you take 136 as an opportunity? Let me know. Natural gas is doing well at the moment. Little flick over to silver. So I've seen a little pullback. So a little look at gold again. Let's go. Nice little potential breakout here. I'll keep an eye on that one. See if we get a little bit of a breakout of this consolidation from the Renkos. If we look at the candlesticks at the moment, we're not seeing a follow through just yet. But again, guys, remember all the things that you can control when you are trading is that risk element. You know, that's one thing that we have control over. We've got control of two things: your entries and your risk. Okay, so if you are trading an event like this and you don't feel like they're, let's say, your setup set up, or whether you feel that there might be sort of, I don't know, you haven't had a strategy set up, but you like the area that you wanted to trade, then just go in really low risk. You know, they don't need to put the house on everything. You don't need to go aggressive and try and, you know, make a lot of money in a day. It's not a casino, right? You know, it may act like one, but it isn't one. You know, you've got to be a little bit more vigilant on that. You know, here we go, starting to see a little bit of break here on gold. But like, so for instance, if I like this gold little breakout that's happening right now, because of the risk event, you know, I could just take a very, very small position in the market. I don't have to go in with, you know, big aggressive moves. So, you know, just to kind of give you an idea, like if I like this area for a short, but I'm not so sure about sort of the conditions surrounding the news, then I can go in with a really, really low, like 0.25% position or even a 0.2% position. And then if it does start to go my way, then great. You know, we can start maybe adding into that position. Tabo, I've short pound Kiwi and pound Oz, and I have long Aussie CAD, Aussie dollar. Nice. Yeah, pound Oz was actually something we spoke about the other day, wasn't it? I did like the idea of potentially a pound Aussie short position. You know, we kind of talked about the potential for a bit of a move here by the looks of things. I can't actually remember what we talked about. Okay, I remember. I actually talked about being that high there. That would have been a nice area to get short. So obviously the data has driven price into that. So yeah, I'd have been, you know, looking at that one this week. You know, I did quite like the idea of pound Aussie short, especially because we've got that Aussie data coming up tomorrow where there's potential for the labour market to grow. You've got the UK with a potential for the Bank of England to cut rates. So we should see a little bit of a depreciation in the pound, especially against currencies like the Aussie, even Kiwi as well. You know, that's a potential. Let's have a little look. Pound CAD. Where's pound Kiwi? Have I gone past pound Kiwi? Here we go. Pound Kiwi. Yeah, pound Kiwi having a little bit of a downside move as well, staying below that sort of 2.09 area as well. Ripple when fly. No idea. No idea. I might do a little report on that coming up shortly. So keep an eye on Blueberry Markets newsletters. I'll do a little crypto analysis soon. Yeah, let's go check out oil then. Let's go check out oil and the commitment of trader reports, because you know the commitment of trader reports can tell us a lot about a market, really. You know, they're the big players in the game. They're the ones that are in it for business purposes. They're in it for trading as well if you're a non-comms. So, you know, the commercials really have to stay on top of the fundamental analysis within the market. So, I do think that, commitment of trader reports can be used in a really helpful manner. Let's flick over to oil then. We're all seeing a lot of downside as that's the 10-year yields. That's my oil chart. Bitcoin, is it up further? Oh, here we go. Oil, sorry. Let's have a look. Yeah, I didn't see much upside in oil right now, to be honest. When we were last talking about it, I said if price can hold above $80, then yeah, I like the idea of upside oil, but we've breached that now. And I don't really see too much upside right now. Let's bring on a commitment of traders report then. So let's have a little look. We'll go over to barchart.com first. So I've got to look to see if theirs is updated. Last time I looked, they didn't have the latest data. We can't really begrudge that. That's free data. So if we go to futures, energies, okay, crude oil, June contract should be fine. Get off that. Let's have a little look, I've come onto the wrong little bit, haven't I? Okay, barchart.com. Oh my God. Close. Give me the commitment of trader reports. Where's it gone? I've come to the wrong thing. Tools. What? Barchart.com. Commitment of trader reports. Here we go. I've come onto the wrong link. Natural gas, gasoline, crude oil. Let's have a little look at crude oil, WTI. Let's see how up to date it is. Okay, so we do have the up to date data on barchart.com. So yeah, basically, again, what I kind of look for are those extremes in the market. For instance, here where we had extreme selling from the commercials, and look how price reacted to that. And it's a supply and demand situation. The commercials will buy as prices come lower. They will sell as prices go higher. And then you've got the non-coms, which is the green line here. They are traders. They are large institutions, hedge funds, whatnot. They are going to be looking to basically trade the trend, essentially, trend followers. So you'll see that as price rises, they will also buy. What I like to look for on commitment to traders is those extreme levels. So you can see here, obviously, back when price was around about $90 there, we had sort of commercials minus 390,000 contracts there. And we came very, very similar to that recently, around about the 8th of April. There was a very similar sort of low coming in around about minus 345,000 contracts. And we actually saw a little bit of a decline there. So when you say, I'm looking for a short but cut or long, what do you think? The commercials are getting long, but I only really take notice when we come into, like I said, those extremes. So if I wanted to be long oil right now, I'd be looking at my commercials around about these peaks here. Okay. So if you saw a jump in commercial buying, that tells me that they think that the market is cheap. So as price continues to fall, they will buy more. Okay. So that's why it's important as well to look at these kind of big levels. So maybe around that sort of $70 level would be a really good time to buy. We can see that the non-coms are selling quite aggressively at the moment. And that's also sort of because price is starting to move lower. So yeah, I like to look for extremes when it comes to cut reports, because if you see the commercials are buying right now, that tells me that price probably still has a little bit of a way to go. But it will come into a peak, right? It will come into a peak, like here, for instance. So, they were buying quite heavily there. and price was falling, very similar to here. They were buying quite heavily, price was falling there, and then you get that kind of supply and demand issue then, and we start to see them offload a lot of their contracts. So yeah, they'll start selling those contracts, price begins to rise again. So at the moment, it's telling me that maybe oil prices are on the decline, and they're more likely to continue to decline at the moment until we come into potentially a big area, which could be that sort of $70 point. But that's how I use Commitment of Trader reports. Very similar to gold as well. So if we go back, we can have a little look at gold prices. This is why I think as well gold prices are well, I haven't looked at the updated data yet, so let me just see what that's looking like first. But we discussed that gold prices probably aren't at the sort of peak yet, and a lot of that is to do with how the commercials are positioned in the market. So let me actually just move that to the top of the screen. So you can see here, again, commercials, non-coms still fairly bullish right now. Commercials still selling. It's kind of petering off a little bit though, so maybe there is a sort of top in the market, potentially forming right now. But I want to see selling like we did back here, okay, like we did there. That would be very, very interesting to me in terms of trade in the market. That is back in March of 2022 where we had that big decline in gold. That's where I want to see the contracts again. I think if we get anywhere near that, that would be telling us that there's a potential top in the market, and that we are likely to see sort of move lower. But you can see, look at the amount of selling right now. It is starting to sort of peter out a little bit. Whether they feel that there's still opportunities for this to be cheap, so they're still selling a little bit. Very, quite interesting right there. I'd like to see the commercials sell a little bit more aggressively as price rises. Is that telling me that price is maybe going to hit the 2.5k mark? That's what I'll be looking for as well from a cop position. Always try and focus on the extremes, because that will give you turning points within the market. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so oil prices for me, probably not there yet in terms of a turnaround. At the moment, you've got trend as well. If you look at the conditions of this market, we are moving lower right now. So you can see we've got that sort of downward potential move happening right now. If I wanted to be a buyer of the market, I don't really want to see lower highs and lower lows. I want to see this where you got higher highs, higher lows coming in, right? So as soon as that dynamic changed, really, as soon as we got fairly a close below that previous kind of high where we had this almost head and shoulders play, that was a big signal that maybe oil prices were going to drop a little bit lower there. So potentially looking for continuations. Like I said, this $70 sort of area down here with these big like weekly lows could be a good area for that to start to turn. If you were to see a breach back above $80, then yeah, I like the idea of oil moving higher. You could even argue that you could draw some kind of trend line. Not the huge fan of trend lines, but they give us a little visual representation of what could happen if price breaches that for a move higher. So definitely something to take into consideration as well in the near future. But I don't really see oil prices bouncing just yet, and that could be largely due to a little bit more of if we start to see a little bit more escalation in terms of war again, then oil prices could surge. So keep an eye on sort of headline risks as well when it comes to oil. Not seeing that breakdown yet here, are we? If I just go back to that sort of outlook on the Renko there, where we had this kind of little bit of consolidation forming, not really had a breakthrough of that just yet. So I'll be more interested if we can take this low out, you know, potential low of 23.70. If we take that out, that could be a little bit more interesting. Got an almost like flag pattern forming there, really, haven't we? Little like triangle pattern forming. But still, if you look, close below Friday's value area high. We've tried to break Friday's value area high again, failed again. You know, that's an interesting idea there, where the price will come and test lower volume levels again. You know, you've got this kind of consolidation around VWAP, which could be tested. Right then, guys, we've been running for about an hour. Linkson, please teach me how to trade. Got loads of free stuff on the YouTube channel. Build up slowly. Take a lot of time to evaluate the markets. Come to the live streams. You know, hopefully that you can learn that way. Got this potential little move down here. I like the idea of trying to target sort of VWAP here, 2364s. Keep an eye on that one. Might set a little sell stop there. See what happens. Right then, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to everybody that joined me today. Really appreciate that. We had lots of new viewers today. So thank you to everybody that joined. Hopefully you can join for tomorrow's live stream as well around the US Open around 2 p.m. We'll see what happens. See if this dollar sort of rally, oh, sorry, not rally, but decline is going to continue, or whether we're going to see a little bit of a reversal to that now. So thank you to everybody that joined me today. I really appreciate you all coming. I will catch you tomorrow, and I hope you have a great rest of your trading day. Cheers, guys.